I hope you're doing really well today. Dan here. I've got a question that says, what is the easiest way to mute the strings properly on a 5-string bass for a clear and crisp slap tone? So thanks for the question. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm just going to freestyle a few things. And I think it was Sem John who said, I hope I'm getting the name right there, but he said he's using his middle finger a lot. Now, it's actually not a bad thing to do. So all I was doing there was I was just slapping octaves from G, 3rd fret E string, 2 across, 2 down to 5th fret D string, and sliding to the 6th fret and 5th fret. So you can practice along as we go. Now I'm using my first finger and little finger. There's one thing I want to show you in particular that does translate to muting on a 4-string as well, so there's no real difference there. But notice that at the moment the middle finger is not being used at all for this little line. And notice also that it's a longer finger and it naturally can lie just a bit further, so it's just to touch the B string. But actually the one thing I want to show you, which I think, I don't know if you're using this technique a lot, but it's a really good one to use, especially with slap. Now when you're slapping, this hand is far too busy to be muting most of the time, but I will show you one way to do that later. First finger, that's a really good finger to use for muting. So let's just say I'm playing this G here. I'm fretting the fingertip as you normally would, except I'm just pushing the fingertip up against the underside of this B string. In addition to that, I'm just backing the first finger against the D, the G, the A, the D, and the G string. So actually that one finger, if I just do this, these 3 strings are muted, and the B string, all 4 strings are muted. This is really a guitar technique. Guitarists use this a lot to, you know, because when you're playing rhythm parts and you've got 6 strings on a guitar, maybe you're playing 2 or 3 notes out of the 6 strings. You really need to mute those strings, and it's exactly the same here, especially when you're slapping. So even though you can see that my middle finger is just here resting against the string, it's actually the first finger that's taking care mostly of the muting here. A couple of other things. So if I'm just improvising around a G minor pentatonic scale, in case you're wondering. It's just a good scale to use. Now if I'm going, let's say I'm doing some sort of little figure there where I'm just popping and not using the thumb. Now in that situation there, my fingers are not in a position to do the muting techniques that I was just explaining before. Now here, this is a good opportunity to just use that heel of the slapping hand, of the right hand in my case, just to rest. And by the way, I'm not saying this is how you have to do it. I'm just, you know, giving you a few ideas that might work for you. I think when you mute on the bass, you need a few strategies that are going to work in different situations. You know, I can't use that first finger down here in this situation, so I need some other way to do it. Now, if I do that and don't do any muting, you can hear, you don't want that noise. So all I'm doing here, I'm just resting sort of the heel of my hand against the B and the E strings, a little bit on the A string as well, because at the moment I'm not playing those. And it's just as I'm coming in this direction, I'm just moving, just gently, just to coordinate it. So I obviously need to not be touching the strings with the heel of my hand when I need to be playing that. So it's just moving very gently. And now I'm back to this situation where my fretting hand can take care of the muting. I've got one of these, what is it? It's a Groove Gear fret wrap. And that's quite a good thing to get. So Victor Wooten sort of pioneered the use of a hair scrunchie over here. You know, if he's playing some sort of fast slapping thing up in this area of the neck, he'll often just do this. Now that's great if you're playing something that doesn't involve an open string. But if if you do need an open string, that's not really going to cut it. Okay, but just having those for certain keys and certain styles, certain sort of things you're playing can be quite useful. So you might consider getting something like that. But for me anyway, when I'm slapping with a 5 string, and I've got this Music Man Stingray where the string spacing is not that wide between strings, so it's a little bit more difficult to slap because there's not really much room in there. But the principle is the same, whatever bass you're playing. But since we're talking about 5 strings, just to review, we've got the middle finger doing a bit of muting, but you know, you might need it. Actually, I haven't actually used it that much at all in these examples. If I do need to use it, I've got that first finger. Now that's doing a lot of the muting. So just to review, I've got the fingertip pushed up against the B string if I'm doing something. Now I'm touching the fingertip up against the E string, and that bit of the hand here, that's taking care of the muting whenever my fretting hand can't do it. If you think about it, one of the hands or both has to do the muting. So those are just some ideas that I've got just off the top of my head. These sort of methods and techniques I use. Muting is definitely something that you need to be aware of, because you know, you might be playing and that's going on, especially prevalent when you're playing with a loud amp or you're recording and you listen back. So that's a good thing to do. Record yourself, listen back, and just aim to not hear any extraneous noises. And you'll just have to sit down and you'll have to realize that it's one or both hands if you're slapping or doing any kind of technique that needs to do it. So I bet there are millions more strategies that other people use, but those are just some ideas to get you started. So I've got another video on muting, and I'll put a link to that. But I hope, Sam John, that answers your question a little bit. I think he says that he plays a lot of different styles, a lot of gospel music, and that's cool. So I hope you can use that and make some great music. So thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe. I do at least 2 videos a week. And notice, I don't know if you've been watching my channel a little bit, you'll notice I've been literally reading questions that people have given me. So I'm going to put a little note to do that. Just put a question in the comments. I'll either direct you to a video that I've already done, or I'll just do a really short video showing you as much as I can on what you want to know. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.